What's up, Bucktooth Buckos? Oldmantup coming at you today, coach of the Pittsburgh Pirattatas with our Week 3 matchup against division rival Gym Leader Geo, who is winless at this point. He's 0-2 going into Week 3, so we'd really like to give him that third loss and not give him his first victory, because sad face. But, preface to this match happened Saturday night into Sunday morning, and there were a few disconnects. At least 2 that I can remember, but the amount of time we spent battling was probably 2 to 3 hours trying to get everything sorted. So if there's a few odd plays in there, I'm going to try and remember them as they happened. We didn't have to switch up very much. The only thing we really had to account for was a stone edge miss, which was later in the match, and we will tell you guys as that happens. But this match happened very late minutes, so I apologize there wasn't a team builder. I apologize that I didn't get to do a prep speech, but I finished up. It is literally 2 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time on Sunday as I'm recording this, and everyone in my house is asleep, so I can't be too terribly loud. Oh, and I'm still all jittery because I was drinking coffee the whole time we were doing it, and yeah. So let's give a quick look over this team. We have Thunderous, standard prankster set with T-Wave and 3 attacks. Jellicent, fully physically defensive Jellicent with Will-O-Wisp. Does a lot, walls a lot of his team. Then we have Arcanine, Intimidate, and fully physically. I don't remember if it's physically defensive or if it's max HP, max attack. I don't remember, I apologize. When I team planned and had this team made, and when we actually battled was like 5-day span in between, so my brain, and that's my own fault. The holidays really got to me, and I didn't get to prep as much as I would have liked. But we have Arcanine, we have the Excadrill, Tyranitar Core, DD Tyranitar, Crunch, Stone Edge, and Stealth Rocks. Excadrill is pretty much straight up standard set. Adamant Life Orb, 4 attacks including Rapid Spin. And we have Celebi, which didn't get to do anything last week, and we're going to see it this week. And what is a fairly common set from last week, and it is the Swords Dance, Seed Bomb, Baton Pass, and Subset. And what I'd like to do is get that in on either Ditto, if I can find out that it's Scarfed, and or Vaporeon or Hippowdon, because neither of them, barring Roar or Whirlwind, can really do much to Celebi. So let's take the power of Captain Phasma with us and see if we can get victory number 2 for the Pittsburgh Pirattatas. So we're going to lead off with Uzair here, and that is our Thunderous. And he's going to lead off with Nado, kind of what I expected, thinking he would try and get this in and set up rocks right away. And he's going to switch in Trip, which is his Amoonguss, and this thing is going to be a huge pain in the tuchus the whole stinking match. And, yeah. Life Orb, max special attack. I know that's Rock and Assault Vest, especially when you don't see leftovers or Black Sludge recovery, and so it's obviously Regenerator, Assault Vest. So I was like, Madre de Dios, this thing is going to be an issue for me. So we actually play around it very nicely. We go into Epoch here, who takes that Sludge Bomb, and it doesn't do half, so that's good for us. And he's going to switch out here. And he's going to go into Remix, and he's going to get to see our set. And this was a really smart play on his part, because there really isn't much that generally Celebes can do to themselves. Had I U-turned here, if I had it, that would have been fantastic, but I don't have it, because I'm a Baton Pass set, that's why. And I Baton Pass right into Arcanine, Pork Chop, and Pork Chop is going to get that Intimidation off. So I don't know if he's Scarfed yet, because I have no speed investment on this Arcanine, because of the great speed differences in Geo's team, and it wouldn't have helped me regardless. So he subs and switches straight out, and he subs on my Toxic, because I actually predicted him to go into the Vaporeon, which he does the second turn and takes the Crunch relatively well. That did a lot more than I thought it was going to be honest. And we're going to switch Pork Chop out here. And we're going to go into 50 crisps, thinking maybe he would go for a Scald or a Toxic or something like that, and Jellicent can deal with that a lot better than some of the other things on my team. And he's going to go straight out into a Mungus. I'm going to go for the Taunt because I don't want to be getting any Sleep Powders yet. Because initially I didn't know when I switched out into Celebi the first time whether or not he got any... Did I just miss a crit there? I don't think it mattered regardless. I didn't know at that point right away because I hadn't seen the leftover recovery when I switched out into Celebi when he went for the Sludge Bomb the first time. But I taunt because I don't want him doing any shenanigans. It's at this point I realize he is the Assault Vest. And I realize I don't really have to taunt it anymore, but I kind of want to catch one of his walls switching in that have recovery to get the taunt off on. But, yeah. Just going to switch out here into Arcanine because I know Arcanine can take a Sludge Bomb relatively well. And yeah, that does less than a third. Just barely. And we're going to get Leftovers recovery. He doesn't have Stealth Rocks up at this point, so we can freely switch in and out. We can take those for days. And just go for the Flare Blitz right here. Don't want to try any more shenaniganiness. Really should have Toxic there, but I didn't. Flare Blitzed. And that's going to do... That does a surprisingly large amount to Motto. But I always forget how much of a beast Arcanine is. But we are going to have to switch out here because we do not want to eat an Earthquake in the face. We're going to go out into Jellicent because, like I said, completely physically defensive. Even if he has Crunch, it's barely a 3-hit KO after Leftovers recovery. And here he's going to get his rocks up. And this is going to be a problem for the team in the long run. I am carrying Rapid Spin. I just have to get in and Rapid Spin. So if I could burn this Nado, my apologies, burn the Hippowdon, I would have been in a really good position. But I just say in a taunt because I don't want him slacking off in my face. And if he's taunted, I can beat it 1v1 after I burn it. But we're still really early in the match, so I didn't want to over-predict. I really kept expecting Vaporeon to come in on this thing. But that never happened. So I really can't touch Vaporeon outside of the taunt. He's going to Sludge Bomb here and get the poison. True facts, I think that actually happened one turn later than it did originally. Because somewhere right around here was when our first disconnect actually happened. But not that that's really important in the grand scheme, because even though we had all those disconnects, we got the game pretty much tit for tat. Exactly how it happened. Which was very nice. And it was real nice working with Geo, because he took the time to make sure we got everything right. And I would like to think we did. Now, I switch out into Excadrill here. And I'm just thinking, I want to drop an Earthquake, because if he goes into anything other than a fully physically defensive Vaporeon, I have a really good chance to two-shot it. Now I'm like, this right here, if I were to Earthquake again and hit, it would be it was a really low odds roll for me to take it out based on that damage I just hit. And he's just going to slack off on the turn here, and I can't really do anything about that. I stay in an Earthquake, I do less than 50% damage, then he's just Life Orb damage killing me. So he gets back to health full health after the leftovers, and 50 Crisp is going to be out here. And unfortunately we're poisoned, but I mean at least we're not toxic. And unfortunately the poison is going to negate our leftovers. So Imposter Ditto is going to come out here. He's going to get to see our full set, even though I think everything but Recover had been revealed until this point, and we just busted it out. Wanted to recover on the switch in the event he wanted to pull any shenanigans moves. And if he were to Whirlwind or something like that, anticipating me, I don't even know. I just wanted to be at full health again, because Jellison is one of my most important walls. He's going to Will-O-Wisp here, and that missed, and funny enough, the 2 times we had to replay through that, it missed both times as well. And like I said, the poisoning from the Sludge Bomb, there were a few variances, but it almost always equaled out in the end. He's going to bring in Entei here, and at this point, I just Baton Pass out, and I'm going to go into Arcanine. And here is where we did a small alteration as to what happened. Here, the first time that we got to this point, he went for a Stone Edge and missed. Probably wouldn't have killed, but always has that huge chance to crit. And from the various plays we had to do, I was at a different health range at this point than the initial attack, and he just goes for a Sacred Fire there. Because when he missed the Stone Edge, I got the Toxic off, which matters in the in the long run. And granted, I'm at lower health than I would have been after the Stone Edge miss. It doesn't change how the match played later on. So that was the Sacred Fire. There was a little bit weird play because that was supposed to be a Stone Edge miss. So we both switch out here. And I'm going to go into Jellison, and he goes into Hippowdon. And we just keep getting to this point where I get Jellison in, he gets Hippowdon in, he switches out and goes into Amoonguss. And unfortunately, I don't have anything on my team that comes in on one and can two-shot the other one. So that's just was a huge, and I knew Amoonguss was going to be a problem for my team. It's a problem for anybody's team. It's got that regenerated ability, so it can come in, take a huge hit, and then switch right back out with Regenerator. I mean, lucky I got it statused, and it was slowly taking damage, and I see that does absolutely nothing. And I stay in and Scald this time, and he Grass Knots me, and that did so much damage. So much damage. And I realized when I ran my original calcs, because I had them in my head, but I realized when I did my original calcs, I had done it with Energy Ball, and that doesn't do anything to Jellicent. And I was like, holy crap, that did so much damage. And then I realized if among ghosts, I think Jellicent is the heaviest next to Giratina. I was like, holy crap. So, wow. And he switches out into Pinsir here. Now, I can't bring anything in to die immediately. And I'm at half health. I can't keep switching in and out at the poison that I'm at. So this is a point where Jellicent is going to have to... Right here, I could not let him sub or Swords Dance because I had no ways of phasing. And after a Swords Dance or a turn is going to kill everything on my team. More or less. Between return, possible Earthquake, which I believed he would have been packing, it just would have been bad news bears. So I had to stay in, sack Jellicent, and I bring in Uzair, and I predict him to switch, and I hit him with the Psychic. And I'm expecting this to do somewhere between a third and half, and I get barely a third. I'm just like, holy crap. Now, I can't stay in, not kill it, and take a Sludge Bomb because Uzair is way too important at this point in the match because it's the only thing on my team that naturally outpaces his Pinsir. Ugh. This was a point in the match where I knew it was just it was going to be a slow grind to see what ultimately would happen. So I get out Pork Chop, and he brings out Zoolander here, and I'm like, I'm going to outspeed this. I got leftovers first. I need to Toxic it. Even if he scalds me, I can bring something else in that will deal with this, but I can't switch anything into a Scald because nothing at this point. I really wanted to, you know, get the burn. I mean, a Scald would take me out, but it would give me the switch initiative, so to say. Now he's going to bring out Pinsir here. Now, I know if I can get damage on this, that almost everything else on my team is guaranteed to take it out with one hit, outside of Celebi. So, I stay in, get some damage off, and I know if I haven't set up rocks yet, but I know if I can get something in and set up the rocks, then I will be able to... anything will one-shot this at that point, outside of Celebi. So, he's going to bring Trip in here, and I just go for the Psychic again because I have to. I mean, yeah, I have to at this point. And I'm getting really, really low on health, and this is where I am regretting bringing the Life Orb and not having the leftovers, because it's just one of those hindsight things. If I had brought the set that I had originally planned, as opposed to, you look at your rough draft and then you got your final copy, and you see if you had brought what you had for your rough draft and not what was in your final copy, frustrating. So, and it's freaking late. So he brings us in, so I know he has to go for Quick Attack. I haven't used anything to make him think I'm using Prankster. So I'm thinking maybe he isn't thinking about the T-Wave coming. And I know if I can get the T-Wave coming, I can get T-Tar in. And I can't set up a Dragon Dance yet. Because if you were just to stay in and say, hey, guess what? You got Dragon Dance, I'm not even worried about it. I'm just going to close combat your face. Or even an Earthquake at this point, I think would probably be enough to take me out. Because Mega Pinsir's attack is like that big. So I stay in and I go for a Stone Edge because I have to. I can't. I know this thing's probably coming in. It hits it and it does less than a quarter, and he's going to get leftovers, and I'm just like, freaking balls. I've only got 3 things left at this point, and that is Arcanine's gone. That is Celebi, this, and Excadrill. So I'm like, I gotta take this chance and get my rocks up. So I'm like, I can't let him freely switch around with what I have left, especially if I get in Excadrill to do some damage. I need him to take something for playing a switch game later. So I had to get those set up, and someone's going to tell me, well, that was a really bad mistake. Well, guess what? Maybe you're right. So he's going to Earthquake here. And even if I had crunched, I don't think it would have mattered long run, simply because of what happens later. Epoch, I really wish that Earthquake would have done less damage, because if I could have set up the sub here, I know it didn't do a full quarter, but had I set up the sub here, I am at had I gone for the sub here, I would have had 1 hit point left, and the Sandstorm is hitting me before I'm getting leftovers, so I would have died. And I probably should have baton passed there to see what he was going to do, and that would have given me the initiative, and I probably would have been able to kill this thing. But at least I get a nice hit off on it with the Seed Bomb, and that's going to put it at an easily revengeable range. If I can bring something in. Unfortunately, it doesn't take him to the point where rocks are going to take him when he comes in. Going to get the crit there isn't going to matter, because Sacred Fire at that range, even if I was fully physically invested, it wouldn't have mattered. So Sandstorm ends, so I'm like, okay, I can bring in T-Tar, it's only going to burn 1 turn of sand, and then I have, if I'm lucky, a late game sweep with Excadrill. So Spinal Tap's going to come in here, has virtually 15 hit points, and Sacred Fire is going to be more than enough to take me out at this range, because I am jolly, max speed, max attack. I really should have brought my defensive set that I wanted. It would have worked so good for me this week. But what you gonna do? Yep. I really need to stop overthinking my team prep. So I'm going to bring in Blister here, and he's going to switch out, and he's at the range that rocks will kill him if he comes in. So he's going to switch out and preserve differential, and I don't blame him in the slightest, even though it sucks getting 5-0'd. And I'm going to Iron Head here, and I'm like, wow, that did a lot of damage. Well, that was a crit. So had I gotten that, I don't even remember what I was thinking, the extra damage off on Motto, and taking him down just a little bit, I might have been able to take him down at this point with that Earthquake, because just that little bit more damage would have mattered. But I mean, it would have probably not changed the game by much. But, yeah, who knows, it might have. But what you gonna do? Good game, Geo. I'm glad your first game, your first win was a big win. I'm just sorry it had to be at my expense. But alright guys, this has been Oldmantup, and I am literally drained. It's 2:30 in the morning. Alright guys, be sure to go over and check out Geo. He's one of the best dudes in the world, and I'm glad he's in my division. I get to play him this season, because I didn't get to play him last season. But alright guys, this has been Oldmantup, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.